Give me 30 seconds. Bless you.
Thank you.
That works. Okay. Moving on. Thank you for your patience, everybody. So that was great. That was that we have the opportunity to bring the kids in to do these presentations. It is something that we do want to make sure we're continuing to do. Hopefully for the rest of the year and then onward. But again, thank you to Ms. Lee for volunteering and stepping up. That was great. So I only have a couple brief updates before we turn it over to our curriculum people. Enrollment, first, we're still currently at 369, which is great news. Admissions update, I believe I reported on this at the last meeting, but we did do the lottery. Stephanie, our new administrative assistant, has been working really closely with the district to ensure that all the documentation is in from all of our incoming kindergarten students. That's been going really well. The deadline for initial offers actually ended on March 1st. So we did have at least, I think, 2 spots on the waiting list that were given away, and that's working out well. When the new year rolls over in the system next month, Stephanie will then be able to start adding their information into the system so we can send them notifications and whatnot through real time if we need to. So that's moving along nicely, and I'm pleased to say that all is well there. Last thing I have is a facility update. There's only 2 really brief updates and one thing that we did talk about in finance. First of those is tomorrow or Wednesday or Thursday, I should say. A company is coming in to jet back the drains that are on the outdoor basketball court because we've had some pooling of whatnot with the rain, and I'm hoping that this will eliminate that so we can continue to be able to do outdoor recess without our custodians having to go outside and sweep the basketball court to keep it dry. In addition, tomorrow, or actually Wednesday, we are going to have a consultation with a company that's going to come in to look at our gym floor indoor, because we've had it for a number of years now, to make sure that we're maintaining it the right way and getting advice on whether or not we need it serviced or whatnot. So that's just a regular maintenance sort of request. Mark will be meeting with him on Wednesday, and we'll see if we want to proceed with anything relating to that. The only other facility update is the something we talked about in finance, and that is the project where we're going to be building a new office upstairs near the resource room. The contractor that we were working with before, but regardless, Tom has already reached out to a number of other contractors and looking at those who are covered in the state contract to make sure we can proceed with somebody to get that done at the end of the spring and into the summer, so we're good for next year. That's my update. So I'm going to turn it over to Sonia to talk a little bit about PD and events.
Hello, everyone. On February 29th, we had a behavior management PT for some of our staff. It was conducted by Dr. Dinah Kremberg. She holds a master's degree in psychology from Teachers College, Columbia University, and a doctoral degree in psychology from NYU. She provided behavior management training to various schools, so she came well recommended. She will be returning to conduct the PT in a couple weeks again. We would like her to conduct a similar PT with our paraprofessionals. Today we have Michelle Hogan, who is from Generation Ready. returned to conduct more ELA training in the science of reading. She came on March 6th, and today she returned to observe some of our ELA teachers, and then she met with some of our teachers afterward for feedback. She'll be returning 2 more times, and she'll be doing a mix of observing and also providing feedback again and running workshops. We also had iReady training this afternoon for our ELA and math teachers. And Anna, our social worker, and Christina Anders had CPI training last week. I know Miss Anders was renewed, but Anna has done the CPI whole program training, so she can even train staff at this time. And then we have some special ed training that Christina will talk a little about Sunday. And
yeah, we have 2. So one of our resource room programs, the Sunday system, is more in Gillingham-based multisensory program. The teachers have been trained. We have them all retrained in both levels of the program so that they are all familiar with it and can teach it if need be. And then throughout the year, we actually started last June. Our teachers have been getting Orton Gillingham trained with a focus in dyslexia through a program, Max Scholar, but also just to get trained with the skills and the strategies. So they had a full day training in June, and then they've had monthly meetings with the trainer. Our new teacher, Erica, started today, so we're getting her into the training. She's actually going to go March 22nd or 24th, I can't remember which day, for that full day training, and then she's going to go and do the full year cohort as well, so that they are all trained in both those programs and the strategies to help kids who need the extra help.
thank you, Sandra. And thank you for coordinating for the science of reading training as well. Events update, just really quick, we had our Black History Month event right after, during our winter break. It was like the Saturday right before we're going to winter break, so we just want to ask, just give a couple shout outs. So thank yous.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Happy Women's Month. I just wanted to ask Ms. Joyce, can I give a shout out to some people? I just wanted to shout out TCCS. They always show up and show out. The representation was amazing there. We had some great vendors. Thank you to the board, to admin for attending, and to all the students that participated as well. We had a lot of teachers. So I'm going to shout out to Nicole, Abby, Scalisi, because she's helping me with the next one, and Mendoza, Samantha, Kim, Apple, Lindsay, Haley, and Kende, who was our MC for the night. He was amazing. His organization helped a lot with that night as well, with MCing and everything. I want to thank a lot of the students. We had some girls that designed their own clothes. Olivia, who's in my class, second grade. We had some artists that showed their art. And we had some of them that did speak as well. So I just wanted to say thank you again. Couldn't do it. I know I'm getting a thank you, but it was a group effort and a team effort. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Yes,
Thank
I
you
know
to you.
CCSU had a table. There was like a bunch of
We had a lot of vendors. We had the NAACP had a table. So, and FDU, sorry. FDU.
Thank you to Ms. D for organizing that and sharing.
This Thursday's literacy night. It begins at 6:30 p.m. in the multipurpose room, and then students will be separated by grade levels, and we'll let you know that at that time what specific rooms you will be going to. I want to thank our ELA chair, Juliana, who's on maternity leave and helping us organize all of this stuff. So thank you, Ms. Juliana. You know, and she's been coordinating with the teachers. They're like back and forth, so I'm just very thankful for you and all of the teachers for putting this together. Because we have Literacy Night this week, we have a Spirit Week dedicated for literacy. So today, the first day was reading Wear Something with Words on it. So many of the students wore shirts that had different words that everyone can read. So it was great to hear the students reading everyone's shirts as they walk by. Tomorrow's reading is active, so sport your best or active sportswear. Wednesday's character day, so the students should dress up as their favorite character. Thursdays, let's do some more reading because that's our literacy night theme. And so you can dress outdoorsy, so flannel or checkerboard, whatever you want to wear. Friday is reading is rewarding, so dress up as your future self. What do you want to be when you grow up? So, you know, our students and our staff really take part in the whole Spirit Week, so it's exciting. Thank you, parents. I know we have many Spirit Weeks, but we love them. We try to keep them with what you have at home. We try not to we try to get so much stuff, but thank you for participating. On Wednesday, March 13th, the gala registration opens up, so I wanted to make sure to say that.
Yeah.
And then next week is our March 13th. And then next week is our spring musical. We have Sister Act Junior that opens Thursday. So Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday we have 2 shows, a 2 p.m. and a 7 p.m. So we hope that everybody can make it to our musical this year. And that's it for me.
Thank you, Sonia.
You're welcome.
Great. So the last thing before we move on to curriculum, just a couple quick HIV updates for Ms. Sanders.
I did send you guys 2 HIBs that happened since the last board meeting. Inappropriate comments made by students in both cases. One was a confirmed HIB after a student made an inappropriate slur towards another student. The other one was not a confirmed HIB. It did violate the code of conduct, but it was not confirmed. So you guys have the details in the reports.
Perfect.
And next we're going to start with our curriculum presentation.
Yes.
You want to go first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bear with me with the.
Okay.
You can hold her if you want. Wait, no, I'm just
Mr.
kidding.
Mark, yeah. That's
Right.
right. Okay, good. I'll jump in if she starts chatting. Okay, well, hello, everybody. Juliana. You know me. All right, this is our middle of the year data. This is just a breakdown. I did at the beginning of the year, like showing you what they're being assessed on, and you can just kind of see the, progression from the beginning of the year to the middle of the year. So you go to the next slide. This is just like our scoring ranges and our legend for K-2. And there you have it. Improvements. Okay. Yeah. Still really strong data. Any questions on the? Okay. This is pretty similar to the last time, but teacher review periods built into our schedule, small group instruction during class, time to review, RAS kids, supplemental resources for intervention, and then the addition of literacy night.
The second grade below level got larger, right? Can you go back to that slide?
Yeah.
This was taken after we started the tutoring programs or before the middle of the year?
The middle of the year says it's after.
Well, second grade, the
But they
tutoring
don't-
program,
they
we
don't-
just started actually. We're
Okay.
finding someone tonight who's going to start
Okay.
tutoring for second
Oh,
grade.
so the general program had started the
Yeah.
second grade. Okay.
Okay.
Right, next. And then this is just the growth measure that they have. So it's not like unit specific or topic specific like it is when you're getting those, module assessments. This is like comprehensive. And now this is a little bit more nuanced like last time. The importance of this is so that we can really see where we're targeting the skills, the lagging skills, I should say, and or where if kids are approaching and they're just right on, and we want to give kids credit for their progress. And I feel just hard and steadfast, below, on, or above for this, when it becomes more nuanced, is not really a fair measure of their growth. So we see some great improvements here. Fourth grade is crushing it. Next. And same thing for seventh and eighth. You can go to the next slide. Overall, these are really great. And then, same thing here. Not much has changed. I didn't put it there, but one of the teachers in eighth grade is getting coverage once a week, which is very helpful, even though it doesn't sound that frequent. It's still a good amount of time. It's a whole entire class period where kids are getting one-on-one, more in-depth support. So. And then the literacy night, yep. And then I just put another slide of updates. So they already kind of touched on it, but we had the science of reading consultants come in, which are, this is going to be really helpful when we think about like that second grade data where you were talking about, Ziamata, but like the consultant will be able to come in and like really observe instruction and then target needs of like, and that need to be met, and also that anything that teachers may be like, she went kind of back to the beginning, like the foundations of reading and like how we even like acquire language and things like that. So sometimes those things are really good, like reset buttons for middle of the year. The Lincoln training we had for ELA, I just put that Adam started using it because ELA we really haven't started using it yet. But there's so much that like is involved. So I think like the big idea is to really like hard set launch the whole school come next year. We're using it now, but we will begin using it in September, and there's going to be a lot of discussions on like how we're going to streamline assessments and things like that. The goal is to have like a platform where kids are used to taking the same sort of like, it looks the same, the aesthetic is the same. It's our tests, of course, but the data is all in one place, which was really great because by the time kids get to 8th grade, they'll have like a whole portfolio of data in one place, which is really great for high school applications. When it comes to special ed, referrals, things like that, or like any kind of recommendations for RTI, it's like, okay, let's really look back to the concrete instead of just like abstractly talking about, oh, you need help here, like here's where it is. So that's exciting. iReady, they did their first round of diagnostics, and the second one is coming this month, I believe. It's happening right now, so March, yeah. The information basically informs teachers' instruction and also gives iReady like custom tailored intervention things for students to do. Could be like actual tasks outside of the computer that teachers have, like resources, and then also things for kids to do online. It's also really like, just as a comment, iReady is really great because it's like kids are like, it teaches the kid, here's how we're gonna do this assessment, here's why we're gonna do this assessment. I think that is really helpful for kids when they're being assessed in general. Like, what's the rationale? Why am I doing this? And they have like really kid-friendly things. So poke around and see what your kids think after they use the iReady. And then the SPED updates are just that, again, like the Sunday system, which I will say I use it and I really, really, really see it making a lot of progress for students. I really love it. It's very straightforward and simple, but it's very, very helpful. And then of course, Orrin Gillingham is such a gift to be able to get trained in that. Like, that's huge as a teacher. So that's very exciting and amazing that all of our staff our SPED staff will have that. That's really, so kudos to you guys, because that's great. And then our literacy night. And the idea of that is that for parents are walking away with like, just like an insight, like what's happening in the class, what are kids doing around reading, how we can excite them to read, and hopefully resources to walk away with that like you can use, actionable things that you could do at home. It might not be like groundbreaking to every parent, but it just be like a refresher. And also just like fun family time around an important topic. Some of the things, if you want to know, that we're doing, we had like kids write book recommendations, design bookmarks that we'll laminate and pass out. DCSEO is helping us out with the favors. And again, teachers are setting up like very thoughtful activities that are theme-based, but really like academic focused.
Thank you.
It's great.
Thank you.
Okay. You had said, Christina, that I'm sorry.
No.
So the Orrin Gillingham training is only going to special ed?
right now.
And do our high-risk buddies who don't have special ed, I think I might have asked this already, who don't have special ed services, do they have access to some of those lessons currently?
So right now they have access to the iReady.
Okay.
In terms of different programs that we're gonna use in Boost, we're gonna look at kind of the tiered level of like, Sunday is just for, like, that's a special ed program,
Mhm.
but what else can we be using for like our Boost peers and our interventions for those, borderline students who don't necessarily need special ed services, but they definitely need something.
And you can always like have the kid go meet with the special ed teacher during the boost groups, like we've been having that happen.
So right now, we're starting with, all the ELA teachers are getting trained with the science of reading training.
Great.
So she's coming for, like Sonia was saying, she came last week and did like mini workshops that would what we did is when we were hiring her, we told her the 3 ELA programs that we use, Super Kids into Reading and into Literature. So she broke our staff up into 3 groups based upon the programs that we're using to helping them pull the science of reading from the specific program specific curriculum we're already using.
That's great.
So then today she went into like our K4 classes and actually 5 through 8, a couple classes as well. She observed and then she met with small groups of teachers to provide feedback. Next week she's going to come and do more small individual workshops and go into the classrooms that she didn't go into today, and the same thing for kind of the last day. And I did briefly talk with her about, you know, if we could extend it maybe 1 or 2 more times to have her get a little bit more time with our staff, but this is how we're gonna go. So that's kind of our first step there.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Mr. Adam, our math chair, please come on.
Oh,
Or you could,
maybe.
no.
Apologize.
No, yeah, I'll talk if you need to. So this is the most current data as of last Friday. It shows the topic the topic assessments and the most current benchmark assessments. Some grades have completed topics 1 through 4 assessments, topics 1 through 8 or 10, and some other class groups are kind of doing that in the next couple of weeks. So that's why some of them don't have that second benchmark. So if it says BM, that's the benchmark. Red is 70% or below, the blue is 71 to 85%, and 86% or higher is green. It's kindergarten. First grade.
Very good.
Second grade. I don't know, are you ready for me to say next?
Next.
Next. Third grade. Next. Fourth grade. Next. It's just some things that we're doing to improve the scores. It's interventions during Boost. We're using iReady now for math, which the kids seem to enjoy. Most kids that are using iReady intervention for Boost for math, they're also using it for reading. So they're familiar with the program, and I think it's good that ELA and math are using the same program. It's a little less confusing than trying to remember all these logins and all these sites and how they work. So I'm glad that we're using the same program for ELA and math. Extra areas, extra practice areas of improvement, reteaching, any gaps in learning standards, things that we see after the topic assessments, what were some main standards that were not hit to reteach. Small group one-on-one reteaching during classes, also during Boost. Recommendations for the ASAP program, basic skills recommendations, possible referrals. And now we move to upper school. This is 5th grade.
So like when we see the topic 1 through 4 benchmark, this is the assessment of these 4 topics, correct?
Correct.
So when we have like a 57%, is this when we're stopping somewhat and going back to that one-to-one reteach? And
That's what you'd like to see lower is the benchmarks.
okay,
And yeah, that's when we assess like what are the standards that weren't hit first 4 topics.
but we can't really see that data reflected anywhere else, right? Because no, it's 1 through 8. So
Yeah.
I guess we could look at the okay,
I mean, some, not every grade level will have that, but most will show you the 2 benchmarks.
okay. All right.
6th grade.
The way it's reading is like there's not much, right, growth between. So these interventions that took place between topic 3 and then by the end of topic 6, those same 46% of kids are still suffering. I mean, below level.
Yes. And also just when we look at the data, like there's a lot of, because I look at the numbers and just say, 47. There's a lot of 70s, if I'm gonna get into the numbers, there's a lot of 70s in there. There's a lot of, I don't have an approaching, I wish I had approaching, but there's a lot of approaching in that red. You know, it doesn't really reflect the approach. When we get to 7th and 8th grade, their class dynamics are broken up a little differently. So the 7th grade math is 20 students, 8th grade math is 14 students, 7th and 8th grade algebra is 19 students, and geometry is 12 students. 7th grade. 8th grade. I know when we look at the 8th grade, there's still a lot of red, but I think from the beginning of the year to where we are now, we've made a little bit of improvement. We've seen other colors besides red from the beginning of the year. Algebra. And then geometry. Now, one thing I want to say about the benchmark assessment for geometry here is I talked to the instructor and he wanted to see exactly where they were, and he didn't tell them it was coming in. It was not like a pop quiz, but didn't review, you know, stuff they've already learned. It's just they came in today, you're taking this.
Okay.
So, you know, he went over the results with them. It was kind of like surprising to some of them, to the students, of, you know, just kind of to give them a little more, put in some, you know, put in a little more effort. And that was the results of that. With upper school action plan has changed a little bit from the lower school, just boost interventions. One big thing that Ms. Torres and I and upper school teachers have talked about is frequent communication with parents. And I think when we look at all that red, it's important to get, you know, everybody involved in helping with that situation. So we want to make, you know, it's crystal clear to families, you know, where everybody is, not waiting for progress reports or report cards. Reteach lessons, this is a big thing that we talked about, is that the upper school instructors have noticed that a lot of gaps from where they were to where they are now. So Boost has turned more into reteaching some of those skills, those foundational skills that they're missing. So we're doing that during Boost. Also, students are getting offered retakes now, but shorter paper-based assessments after the reteach lessons are done. 7th and 8th grade students, we're talking possible where we can find it in the day, because everybody has an action-packed schedule, but where we can find, you know, time for skills review and reteach enrichment, besides, because we do see the need for it. So more than just Boost, I think, is needed. And then after spring break, they're going to take the practice NJSLA on Linkit, and we can look at those results and see where the biggest gaps kind of are, because there are gaps.
Is it possible for us to assess this a little bit, like after the reteach
Okay,
lesson?
sorry.
Is it possible for us to assess that too at the next maybe
You mean
curriculum?
like present it?
Yeah, like to see after the reteach, the original test scores, and then the reteach, and then after, to see if
Yeah,
they're
so when it's assigned at every grade level, but if,
for at least 8th grade.
yeah, you'd want to see like top 6 retake, top 7, top 8, okay.
Just to see if it's effective. Because we talk a lot about like what's working and what we're gonna fix, but we don't really talk about what's not working a lot of the time. So I think also we could probably pull that into our student questionnaire and ask them a little bit about what they're feeling about the curriculum and where they're struggling. Because, you know, some of it is great progress, but to have that same almost 50% on some of those grade levels after the last benchmark, it's a little, you know, and we're in March. So maybe we'll get some information from them too. Help with that. Thank you very much. Anybody else's questions?
Thank you, Ms. Howard.
You want to say
Yeah, I
something?
just had the iWriting program, so does that, like, for 7th and 8th grade, let's just say for example, will that, if they didn't do well on the concept 1 through 4, does that then, like, for those kids, will review 1 through 4?
So
For
iReady isn't based off a big idea. So when we first rolled it out, kids got a diagnostic. And the diagnostic basically went with them of like what they know, what they don't know, and they gave the teachers, both in ELA and math, they printed out basically like these are your strengths, these are your deficit areas, and then the program self-prescribes as the students work on individual deficit areas. It gives them practice in those subjects, and then when they're starting to show mastery of that, it'll go on to another deficit area. So it's not necessarily working on the same curriculum that they're working on in the classroom. It's trying to close those
And
gaps.
do all kids do iReady?
No, not right
And
now.
also we use a lot of IXL in 7th and 8th grade. So after you get the results on the test, you see what kind of standards or what they're really struggling with or what they're missing. We can assign those specific I can't do it, but those specific standards to help them.
So let's say like you do an 8th grade on specific, right? You do 1 through 4, you don't do document, right? You'll get the IXL thing to be able to work on.
Well, IXL is a program they use. It's just a supplemental program that they use in class. Not just for that, it's from all levels. So like if a kid is doing amazing, you can specifically assign them higher level skills. If they're doing okay, keep struggling. So it changes kind of topic by topic. So let's say Ms. Anders had trouble on multiplication, I would make sure to assign her multiplication like after that test, and not just assign it, but that's what they're being retaught as well during the interventions, during boosts. Yeah.
So because if I don't understand concept 1 through 4, now I'm on lesson 5. Well, I didn't get 1 through 4, right? So I don't know what 5 is at all. So IXL will help me and with the boost and as well as with I'm getting one time with the teacher to learn 1 through 4.
Yeah, because the biggest, one of the concerns we see is just those gaps that you said, like, if they get trouble top 1, that carries over to top 2, and it's just a snowball effect, so we need to work on those skills that they're missing.
Maybe as a suggestion, one thing, because I'm just thinking now for IXL, like it's very analyzed. Like they know how long the kid took to answer the question. They know they repeat if a kid made a mistake, they ask it a different way, less targeted or whatever. So maybe if you want to see the data that you're talking about, you can use that as a tool so you know what's going on. Like that could be something that you pull, that's easy enough that okay, I'm gonna reteach. This will be the assessment piece. Boom, have that data, and then see how they do on the actual curriculum. So to see, is IXL really aiding us in getting kids to master this curriculum?
Yeah, because we see a lot of data on student performance, but not the remedies that we're putting in. We don't see that data. So.
Yeah, and with Linkit, which Liana said I started using it, and I did it for a benchmark, and I really enjoyed it. It's very easy to understand the data. It's easy to look through it and see, what they need to work on, what they're doing very well on.
Is it confusing for the students at all to be doing iReady, Linkit, and then whatever the regular curriculum is? Because if you're saying it's 3 different things,
Well, for Linkit,
I'm not familiar.
Yeah, for Linkit, it's all connected to real time. It's connected to everything. They don't need logins. You post a link on Google Classroom, click that, hit sign in with Google, and they're in. They don't need to remember anything else. It's just another site they're going to. It's made by to look like the NGSLA. Our SAVAS program was also made to look like the state standard. So looking at the 2 tests it's not, eye-dropping difference.
But the idea with Linkit is that right now we have pieces all over the place. It's going to come together and just be everybody signs in. ELA, social studies, science, you sign into Linkit and take your test.
So an example for math.
Yes.
Yeah, if we wanted to send Linkit our topic 1 test for 3rd grade, they'll take our test, they'll make the questions into their program, so their format. So it's our test, but in their format. So when they submit and they get answers, it's just instant data, and it's very user friendly. I think everybody will be able to decipher.
This is our first year with Lincoln, right? Yeah, we just started Lincoln.
Yeah, we did the
Takes a lot.
Yeah.
They give you 3 forms, like Form A, Form B, Form C. Form A is in the beginning of the year where they should be, Form B where they should be around March, Form C is right before state testing. So I see, in the future of next year presentations, we'll be using a lot more of the Linkit data than just collecting these raw test scores on the top of assessments.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, good. Thank you both. Okay. All right. So moving on to old business. One of the things that we have decided to implement this year, or the board has asked me to do, is rather than just present on how our district goals did at the end of the year is to give periodic updates as reminders of what our goals are, what things we've been doing to sort of hit those goals, where we are in the process, so that when we get to the end of the school year and we look at how we did with the goals, there's a clear sort of progress that's been made, so we understand how we got to where we got. So what I'm going to do is just very briefly, the last update I gave was in December. I did say that we would be doing these 3 times a year. We would do them around report card times to coincide with each of the trimesters. So I gave a bit of an update last time, so I'm not going to go too deep into a lot of these, but Sonia has some things to talk about when it comes to discipline. Christina's going to talk a little bit about special ed and some of the things that we've done. But the good news is that we are making progress towards all these goals. The first one, I mean, you all just stole my thunder with all this talk about Link It, but this is really what one is all about. We have these presentations, we have our chairs working on collecting data and presenting and whatnot. But in the time that I last presented and now, we have had significant training when it comes to Link It, so that our chairs can actually speak eloquently about what they're going to be able to do with it. And I think that's an important aspect of it. Like they both had said, it does take a little bit of time to implement and really adopt, which is why this first year is kind of going slowly. But once everything is all in place and we do have them, literally linked with our assessments, which is why they call it that, it's going to really streamline the way that we look at data, and it's going to be a lot more individualized with being able to target what our specific kids need. So that's coming along. There has been additional training on that. The next phase is to train the rest of the staff now that our chairs have been trained, and to really, start using it before the end of the school year. Like we mentioned before, Adam has started to pilot it in math, and we're going to be integrating ELA again, at least hopefully on a trial basis before the end of the school year. So the next goal has to do with improving student discipline and accountability. I'm going to turn it over to Sonia to talk a little bit about that.
So I just something up really quickly. If you could pull it up.
Yeah.
Hold
on.
So just a quick update. So the first slide is just I sent a survey after our last meeting to see if how the teachers felt of.
Just tell me when.
For the new discipline code, and it looks like everybody said they found it useful. For the yellow color, it just said that teachers don't use it because they don't need to use it. And then there was one person who's here who said she uses it with admin as part when she's involved with any discipline matter. So I'm glad to see that everyone pretty much finds it useful who has to use it. What I did in the next slide is I just tallied up on real time. We're able to pull up a report. And this is just the report that I did for any detention. So this is recess, after school, or Saturday detention. So these are all the grade levels, and these are all from the first term, which is September to January, all the detentions that they've had. So this is the first term. And then if you go to the next slide, this is the second term. And then if you could go to the next one. Typically K through 4, the incidents are inappropriate behavior. So a lot of this is, I'll start with even kindergarten, is the handsy stuff, first and second grade, third and fourth grade. A lot of the incidents are recess time where I have to make calls because they're, especially like in kindergarten starting, they're still learning how to play, how to share and things like that. So a lot of the inappropriate behaviors in K to 4 are typically those incidents. Then 5th through 8th grade, a lot of these were the top incidents: cell phone, unprepared, uncharged device, but the top 2 were disrespectful behavior and inappropriate behavior. So those were the reasons of the tallies of the incidents that we had for those grade levels. And then I added suspensions. I didn't put with how many in each grade level because you probably could, and some you may know somebody. So I just kind of just put in general. First term we had 19, second term so far we have 11. Bless you. And then the next one. And then so what we did, we have the PD, as I said before, on behavior management. And the PD was focused on a lot of positive behavior and how to use your words wisely with students and really getting to know and understand what's going on. So basically, she was talking to our teachers and trying to find out what happened before, what's the answer, what happened prior to the behavior happening. So really asking teachers to document so that you can understand really what's going on in some student lives. You never know what's going on. She also talked about using your language. So for example, typically I see students run, I'm like, don't run. So she's like, don't say don't, say, please walk. So changing your language makes a big difference. And some of us, as we were talking after the PD, we're using it and we're seeing the difference in what you say to the students. So it was a really good PD. We also have our PBIS that we've been doing. And what we did at our last staff meeting, I think we awarded about 3 staff members who use it often. So they didn't know we were going to award them. So nobody knew, let me hurry up and add points. We basically just ran a report from PBIS to see, and we did give the 3 teachers. So they really appreciated that. And I think it also encourages more teachers to give some more PBIS points. There are still classroom incentives in the classroom. So I know some teachers use Class Dojo. They do the fill the bucket, star charts, and different things like that. So we have a lot of positive behaviors incentives in the classroom. We also have tried to do a lot of student assemblies, activities like No Bully Zone, the Kindness Spirit Week, and Teaneck Police Department came to do a presentation on bullying with our students as well. Just recently, we had grade level meetings and where we see the behaviors, whereas you can see in the detentions, it's mostly 5th through 8th grade. And a lot of it is inappropriate, disrespectful behavior. And so what we did was we had grade level meetings. Mr. Gallo and I met with the 5th, 6th students and the teachers, and as well with the 7th, 8th. And we really reinforced, as soon as we came back from break, again, going over the code of conduct, going over the student handbook to just reiterate to students what the expectations are. And I think that the meetings have went well. And we, again, encourage staff to, we like to be positive, but we also say we have a code of conduct for a reason. So continuing to look at the code of conduct in order to make sure that students are getting the consequences if they're doing the certain behaviors that we say you cannot do in school. We also, Mr. Gallo also sent a survey to the parents from 5th through 8th grade because one of our concerns was cell phones. And so students were saying, I don't have a phone. And so we sent a survey because now we have a list of who has a phone and who doesn't have a phone or who doesn't even bring a phone. That way, if it's not in the cell phone locker, the teacher will be able to let the parent know, your child did not put their phone in the cell phone locker. And we see a difference because, we're just trying to hold them accountable for their actions. And again, a lot of it is even being honest, because sometimes they're not being truthful about just where their stuff is and where the cell phone is. So that was great. So thank you, Mr. Gallo, for putting that survey out. And to all the parents, really the support from the parents has been tremendous when it comes to the cell phone because they are responding and they're understanding of that. So, we're just thankful for the teachers, number one, because it's really hard to be consistent and stay on top of things. But I appreciate all of your hard work to all the teachers. I want to thank the parents because you're very supportive. Sometimes you get the phone call from me and parents are very understanding on what's going on. And again, to the students who make good choices and also the ones who even make poor choices. What do they do and how do they reflect after that? After they return, let's say, or have a conversation from something that they made the wrong choice. And so I do thank the students because, even seeing the process and them reflecting, sometimes you have a teacher or staff who may come to me and say the student came and apologized for their behavior. And so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to just have them grow and mature because we're all going to make mistakes. But what do you do when you make those mistakes? So thank you to everyone who's helping with the behavior. And as we continue to go, I'm hoping there'll be less and less incidents.
Thank you. I have a question.
Quick question.
Yes.
K through 4, where do they have detention and when?
So if usually it's recess.
Okay. Will they do this extra reading?
No, they have to write. So like if it's K through 2, I'll sit with them if they come in and I'll talk to them about what happened. So they kind of just reflect on what happened. Why are you here? And they tell me. So it's really like 15 minutes that we meet. Kindergarten, we try not to have the whole recess. It depends on what it is. So if it's just a conversation, we'll talk to them for 5 minutes. So it depends on the grade level, how long they're there. But once they're able to write, really 2nd grade, they're like writing reflection sheets. So if they stay in for recess, they have to write down why you're there and what would you do differently. So typically for 3 to 8, everybody's writing. By 3 to 8, everybody's doing a reflection sheet. If it's recess, after school, similar, they do a reflection sheet as well. And then they have to talk to either me, whoever's doing the detention, or if there's someone doing the detention monitor, they would reflect with that person after they fill out the form.
Is there?
With the code of conduct being implemented this year, is there a decrease in behavior issues from last year?
This is the first time we've ever seen this data.
We're tracking them, so we'll see. We'll know better next year when we get to look at it. But we're trying to even document everything so it's on real time, so that even now I can look at a student's name and I can see how many incidents they've had. But yeah,
That was the push for this year to make sure everything was in one place because I think in the past, someone was providing discipline, but there wasn't a record of previous discipline. So now through real time, that was one of the goals. Do you guys have any changes with recess supervision by grade level, being that you already were able to identify that the K through 3s need more assistance with, learning how to play? And
I mean, we typically have 2 people for each grade level. And if they do see, if it's a repeat student, then they know who to kind of like be more like aware of. But for the most part, sometimes it's not even reading. It could be in the hallway. It's just like even just trying to get online, coming back, and it's like somebody cut me, and it's like push, move out the way. So just that handsy type of behavior too.
would that be a possibility to increase the supervision for K to 3?
I mean, that's a personnel.
I mean, if you look at the incidents, there are not that many with K through 4. So I don't see the need right now, but I mean, we could look into it.
I had one more question. The PD on the behavior management, will some of those concepts be pulled into your like CPI trainings? Will you guys offer
It's
them?
very, very similar. We're all talking about, verbal de-escalation, recognizing precipitating factors, like what's going on in the kid's life, there may be something, and then just more appropriate ways to approach a student who's having a moment, right? Like Sonia was saying, instead of, saying don't run, saying, please walk, or, instead of addressing the student who's doing something wrong, address the ones who are doing things correctly, things like that. So it's a lot of the same concepts. And Anna and I are working on, we're definitely retraining everyone in August, but perhaps a couple people a little bit.
Any other questions?
Perfect. So that was number 2. All right. Moving on here, I will say, even looking at the subcategories, the A, B, and C for that, we really are hitting the things that we wanted to hit, that we want to focus on. Even when it comes to PD and the code of conduct, I mean, that's definitely aligned with what our goals are. So I'm happy to see that. Next one has to do with increased hands-on learning opportunities for students. So obviously we want to integrate PBL, we want to integrate project-based learning, we want to integrate field trips. Last time I gave a comparison of the number of trips that we had this year compared to previous years. We talked a little bit about it at the finance committee meeting. So that is definitely something that the staff has taken to heart, and telling them we want them to get out of the classroom. We want them to really get out there and form those partnerships. We have, I know, at least one parent who's going to be coming in to give a science lesson on waves and sound waves and things like that using the equipment that we have here. That has to do with that outreach that we're really kind of encouraging. All the work that the committee did last year to gather that information about what parents are from certain fields and whatnot. We do want to really sort of integrate that and make sure that families take advantage of that. Just another example is that we're looking to potentially have one of our 1st or 2nd grade classes go visit someone at work to visit them at an airport. So it's good. The other aspect of that has to do with the STEAM lab. Just today, we did have, during our PD sessions, Mrs. Scalisi, our STEM coordinator, did a little session with all of our science teachers and related personnel on what is available in the STEAM lab, or the STEAM studio, I should say. There's equipment and there's things like that she's put together and organized for people to sign out. So we're continuing to encourage people to do that. Next is number 4, improving communication and procedures regarding special ed. I'll turn it over to when did you share it?
A little bit ago.
I'd have to go into my email. I don't want to bring that up on the board here.
That's all right.
All right.
So the first bullet point is about enhancing communication between general ed and special ed. So when we built the master schedule this year, and I talked a little bit about this last time, we put in any co-teachers that are teaching together, a special and general education teacher, they have a minimum of 1 common planning period per week. If they're teaching a couple classes together, we put 2 common planning periods per week in there. And that's in addition to some of their other prep. So they have time, to do what they have to do separately and then together. Our special ed teachers, in most cases, we were able to also get into the general education PLC, like grade level PLC. I think there's only one case where no matter which way we tried to split it, it wasn't possible. So the special teachers are included in those overall PLCs that the grade levels have every month or every week. Every month, we are doing our MTSS, our multi-tiered system of supports meetings, where myself, Anna, our learning consultant, Ms. Pizzude, Dana, who's our INRS chair, Sonia, we all go and we meet with the general education team We have students who we've been kind of tracking or monitoring all year, whether they've been receiving certain interventions or we're just keeping an eye on them or we're referring them to INRS. And that happens once a month, typically the first week of the month, but that's changed sometimes based upon what's going on in the school. We continue to encourage communication between the staff, paraprofessional teachers, special education teachers, in some cases through PLCs. We say that we want what's called a roundtable meeting where we may even bring the parents in, if there's a student who's particularly struggling in certain cases, and really have that full, sit around the conference room table, what's going on, we talk about it. We are moving from real-time IEP to frontline IEP direct. Real-time is not the most user-friendly. I think the information isn't the easiest for our general ed teachers to find. I know my case managers despise it. And my general education teachers be like, I filled out that survey, I did this, I can't find it, where did it go? So we are moving to a whole new system for our 504s and our IEPs, and hopefully make some of that communication and information a little bit more user-friendly, cohesive, and easy to get to. And right now we are offering virtual ABA training, a self-paced ABA training. We put it out there to all of our staff. There are a few staff based upon students who may need it that we are requiring the training for. We did kind of put it out there to our whole staff and say, if this is something we're interested in, please let me know. And we did have 18 people turn around and say, it is something they're interested in. So it is like an online, we're doing the basic version, so it's an 8-hour training that they would kind of self-pace through. But 18 people, including our paraprofessionals, general ed, and special ed teachers, did say they wanted to take advantage of that. So that was good, because even if a student doesn't need ABA services, the strategies that they use with ABA, very discreet, useful for any student who's struggling in certain areas. So that's kind of that first bullet point under number 4. In terms of the regular workshops for parents with children with special needs, every month we get a parenting and family guide sent out by Bergen County. We update the CPAG portion of our website every month, every time it comes out. And that gives parents information on different groups and programs and events going on throughout the county and the state for different areas where families or children may be struggling. So that's constantly up to date. Rosine, who is our Care Plus therapist, she conducted a parent workshop last week, specifically focusing on students who have ADHD or executive functioning, or maybe just some behavior challenges and things to do at home, how to work with the school. There's another one that she's planning. I think tentatively it is for May 13th, just before that board meeting. So hopefully having, right before a board meeting to encourage more families to come in that area. And then we are partnering, and this kind of also goes with our behavior management. We had NJ4Us. So Bergen County had a grant they put out. This new subdivision was developed, and they provide tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 mental health interventions. Tier 2 and tier 3 are just for 6th through high school students, but tier 1 can be given to any student, and that includes student workshops, family workshops. So when Sonia, Ralph, and I were kind of going through some of the discipline data, especially some of the HIBs, what we're realizing is that some of the kids are just using language and they're not necessarily understanding the gravity of what they're saying. I don't even know if they need to be offensive half the time. They're just kind of saying these words and calling people names. Like you and I say hello to each other, they're using other derogatory names. So we wanted to try to tackle that from the outside and kind of do a workshop with maybe students and their families of just basically the language the kids are using and what that might mean and things like that. So we're in the process of specifically planning those things, but that is in the works as well. And then the last thing about kind of collecting data. So every 3 weeks, the case managers are now meeting with the special ed teachers, gen ed teachers, and or paraprofessionals to kind of monitor how they're tracking the data for their students' IEP goals and objectives to make sure that we are not only, we know that they're working on it, but making sure we're also tracking student progress regularly. So they kind of touch base with them every 3 weeks to make sure that that's happening. And then we formally report to parents every 4 times a year through progress reports. And we are actually moving to, we have a resolution up this evening for Navigate 360. It's a program that we're going to use, and kind of in the put everything as much as we can in one place theory, to work on put our risk assessments, our HIBs, and kind of all of that data in one place as well. So those are
I don't know if there's a resolution tonight, but
such that.
did you?
Maybe it was last month.
Yeah, I think we already did it.
We already did it.
Great, thank you. That's a great update. And now the last thing here just has to do with safety and security. You have questions on this? Any? Did you have questions on that for Christina? So you're writing.
Yeah, I'm always ready.
Yeah.
The platform for ABA training, what is the platform we're using?
Generation Ready.
And
So they offer a ton of different training suites in there. They have like a whole MCSS one, which we may be looking into in August. They have a whole behaviors with it. I mean, they have a million out there.
the people who complete the full day training aren't getting RBTs, right? Like it's
No,
not, it's just
they're getting like their certifications and stuff.
Okay. And I don't remember that, what you just said, the 360. I was curious to ask in regards to the risk assessments. Being that you guys have the frontline IEP system and there is that like document repository, can that be utilized to store all of the assessments that you guys are completing?
So what we liked about the Navigate 360 is it also has like a training portion. So I got trained by the state on like risk assessments and stuff like that.
Mhm.
It's a whole day thing. Ralph's gonna go to one, Sonia's gonna go to one, but this program also offers training for staff members within it on not only risk assessments, but student behavior, things to look out for, protocols, things like that. So it is a very user-friendly system. And in terms of IEP Direct, right now we're just doing 504 and IEPs.
Okay. And we can't use the NJ for us for that same training? For the risk assessment training? There has to be like state risk assessment training. It's free
That's
probably.
what
Yeah.
the state risk assessment training is free, but it's very, very in-depth. It's not necessarily a training that like any staff member would go to, because it talks about like, your building policies and things like that. It's more just for like our crisis, our safety team,
Okay.
where this offers more like teacher type training, like things that they should know and they should look out for, and reporting and things like that.
Okay.
And for the record, we did not approve this last thing. That was
Yeah, we
that
did.
was the front line. That was
Yeah.
This actually, there's been, we're just waiting, I think, actually on a revised quote or something from them based on what I have here. But we'll talk. That's good. All right.
We'll get a nice meeting.
All right. Last one is number 5, ensuring a safe and secure school environment. Obviously we had a lot of talk about this last year and some of the things that we wanted to change going into this year. A lot of them having to do with communication. So we wanted to make sure that our procedures and our policies, within reason with what we can really share publicly, were put out there for parents, and that's gone well. Just another example of one of the things that we talked about is anytime there's any kind of police response or whatnot involved, we want to be transparent and make sure we get that information out there. So even with today's minor bus incident in the afternoon, we sent out a notification to let parents know that there was a delay and what the delay was for. So that's important. The other thing that we really wanted to focus on for this year was security at events. So last time I gave an update, it was before the basketball season started, but as those of you who went to games saw, we did have outside security working those games, which really worked well. The feedback has been really positive with the company, in terms of crowd management and just getting the place emptied out at the end of the night as necessary. So I'm very pleased with how that's worked out. We've actually signed up to have them join us for the musical performance as well. So we'll have security for that too. So as we're going to look at that again at the end of the year and make sure we're budgeting appropriately to have them involved for events and other things for the coming school year. But that's also been very positive. Otherwise, our regular security drills and things like that have been occurring as normal. And things are going as planned when it comes to number 5 here. Okay. Any questions? Any feedback about the security or anything?
I'm happy they're there.
Yeah.
I enjoyed seeing them and making sure that everyone who's coming in is accounted for and leaving. It feels more secure.
Just the optics alone, I think is
Yeah.
is good. So that's been very helpful. Okay. All right. So those are our district goals. You'll hear about them again at the end of the year, but that was our update for the second trimester.
Okay. New business. So just like we did our committee's development in the beginning of the year, we have to create a grievance committee. So I wanted to see which members would like to participate in that. It would probably be about the same number, maybe 3 board members, including myself, because I have to sit on everyone. So I don't know if anyone is open to being part of grievance. Is anybody interested? Natalie, Ned? Okay, so Natalie and Enid. All right, so I'll send out information to you guys soon. Okay. I'm sorry. The other thing is we're just gonna do our committee updates. So I know governance has an update.
Yes, all the surveys have been completed. The parent survey is gonna go out in April. It'll be presented to the governance committee this week. Don't make faces at me, please. Who's looking at me weird? I don't know. The teacher survey will go, Ralph will get it, and then he'll send it out to the teachers on a PD day. Usually it's like a half a day where they have a chance to focus on that. I spoke to Ms. Sonia today about meeting with the student government. I meet with them every year to get the questions that they want the student body to answer. So it's like the students are giving me the questions they want to hear back from and get feedback for. We'll have policy updates at the next meeting, and the students fill it out during school too. So Ralph, I guess during like a boost or something, the whole school fill it out at the same time, so we maximize the participation.
Perfect.
That's it.
Thank you. Actually, everybody met. Do you want to do curriculum?
We just met, we had presentations on kind of what everybody's been working on, and then we talked about maybe possibly figuring out ways to revamp the curriculum committee a little bit. So we'll be pleased to talk about that and see what we want to do for timelines and include data.
Great, thank you. And do you want to give a facilities update?
Sure. So we, Ralph and you on the call. We were talking to a contractor that was, I guess, previously vetted for the office project upstairs. We went through some details, and we were supposed to do a walkthrough and kind of fell through. I don't know if he was too busy or I don't know, like an extra layer of scrutiny, but he just left.
You scared them off. Yes, that's right.
This price was pretty high,
Right.
and like I couldn't see any justification for it, so we were gonna walk through. And so I guess now we'll start vetting some new contractors. Hopefully we can find one that kind of stick with. Because it's not easy when you do projects like this. You have to be qualified, insured, and so forth. So once you get somebody, hopefully you get somebody good for next projects.
Thank you. And fine.
So we met today. The check register for the month is totaling $339,442.59. It's for this month. We also discussed risk matrix for the ARPA funding. Essentially, I think you guys are waiting on formal feedback, but one of the items that was discussed is possible recommendation that might come about is just more internal controls for just making sure finances are being overseen properly. The other, and this is just really related as coming from an outside entity providing funding, right? The other thing, of course, we touched on, we just touched on the construction project, possibility maybe to get a new contract. We also discussed new grant funding for capital development. So that was recently received. So we're waiting on more details on exactly what's required for that. So we should have more information next month. And then finally, we're just continuing our discussion on trips to all the grade levels, and just beginning some discussions on possible good recommendations for future auditions and the financials on that.
Thank you, Enid. Okay, any questions on any of the updates? Okay, so any public comment regarding, do you want to?
I'll present the
Is that
resolutions
resolution
quick,
first?
yeah. So we've got 10 tonight up here. We've got the budget summary, which is the record of all the bills that we've paid since our last meeting. We've got the NJDOE fiscal questionnaire, which is something that the DOE requires us to complete every year, just that really summarizes a lot of the standard forms and information about mortgages and everything else related to that, as well as our other finances. The personnel appointments for substitutes, Sonia has found 2 more substitutes to add to our list that we've put up for approval for tonight. We've got all of our baseball and softball umpires for the upcoming season. We've got the semi waiver, which we apply for every year, which Christina has recommended after speaking with the local county Department of Ed and the supervisor over there. We've got a personnel appointment for an additional tutor to kind of address the question that you had before about lower grade level tutors. We've got a personnel appointment for an extracurricular position, which is the choreographer for the spring musical that's next week. We've got ESY appointments for this coming summer that Christina has proposed. We've got the acknowledgement of the HIV reports that Christina gave earlier today. And then we have a closed session to discuss litigation and a student matter as well.
Any questions from the public regarding resolution? Any public comment in general?
I just want.
Oh.
Go ahead. Oh, no.
Go ahead, Ms. D.
All right, then I'll go then. Well, I just want to acknowledge the great basketball team season that the boys and the girls both had. They had a wonderful season. It was great to see so many staff members come out and support our kids. So I just wanted to give them a shout out. Shout out to the cheerleaders too. They did a wonderful job as well.
Go ahead, Ms. D.
Oh, I want to say the same thing about the.
Oh, see what she said?
Thank you. The next one was, just saying, have another event coming up. I'm still working on the date. It's Greek, Irish, Holy. We worked with, Robbie on that. And Women's Month with the students said they really wanted to do this month. So if you know anyone that wants to participate in that, please let us know.
Thank you.
Which I guess is perfect because I was tagging off of that. I just wanted to say, because I wasn't sure if I could join in when she made the first comments, that the union was so proud to sponsor the Black History Month event. And thanks to all the families who attended and the staff that provided support. It's great that in her role as the union's FAST chair, Ms. D is able to create these community-wide events. We are looking to our planning meeting with Ms. D, and I know she has a group of other volunteers to that are helping her on her next event, the union leadership and administration to plan this next cultural event. So, thank you to all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
I have one.
Sure.
Piggybacking on what Anthony stated about the basketball teams, the girls basketball team they were amazing in setting up for the Black History Month program. You know, staying late, dedicating their time. So I definitely want to give them recognition for that. You know, because these are middle school students, and they definitely put their heart and soul into the setup. So it was good to see when I came to this home.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Anyways, Taurus already said it, but registration for the gala does open up on the 13th on Wednesday. $95 early bird ticket pricing, so next 2 weeks. So get your ticket.
What's the date?
The gala date is May 2nd, and check out our website. have a website.
Casino night this year, correct?
It is
Those are
casino
great.
night.
Those are great.
Oh, and everybody come out to Literacy Night.
Get your
Thank
ticket.
you.
Anybody else?
Thank you for bringing people.
Thank you for bringing people. All right. Okay, we're ready. All right, so resolution 2403-01, budget summary. Be it resolved that the budget summary for February 6, 2024 to March 11, 2024, total amount $339,442.59 be approved. Moved by? Had not moved. Second? Leo Justin. Any questions or comments from the board? Bahari?
Yes.
Carter?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Goodrich?
Yes.
Lazoo?
Yes.
McGilchrist?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Vallejo Justin?
Yes.
Had not yes, resolution carries. Resolution 2403-02, NJDOE fiscal questionnaire. Be it resolved that the board approve the 2023-2024 charter school fiscal questionnaire as attached. Moved by? Goodrich moves. Second? Vallejo Justin seconds. Any questions or comments from the board? Bahari?
Yes.
Carter?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Goodrich?
Yes.
Lazoo?
Yes.
McGilchrist?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Vallejo Justin?
Yes.
Had not yes, resolution carries. Resolution 2403-03, personnel appointments, substitutes. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees approve the following substitute appointments for the 2023-2024 school year at a rate of $150 per day. Rosemary Robinson Laird and Faith Ashby. Sorry, Miss Robinson, if I messed up your last name. Moved by
McGilchrist.
Carter moves, McGilchrist seconds.
I said it first.
Any questions or comments from the board?
I just want to recognize Faith Ashby because she's a alumni of the school, so it'd be good to give back to the community. So it's good to see that alumni giving back.
And she's a coach at Paramus Catholic, a girls basketball coach, so it's also good because not only she has that, some of the students know her because they've seen her sister coaching our she's an assistant coach for the girls basketball team, so that's her sister, so I feel like it's like full circle, her coming back to help substitute and her coaching, and connection with high school so much, so we're excited to have her come on board.
Awesome. Any other questions or comments from the board? Bahari?
Yes.
Carter?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Goodrich?
Yes.
Lazoo?
Yes.
McGilchrist?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Vallejo Justin?
Yes.
Had not yes, resolution carries. Resolution 2403-04, baseball, softball umpires. Be it resolved, the Board of Trustees approve the following baseball, softball umpires for the 2024 spring season, $70 each per game. Softball is Greg Arver for the April 8th and 15th. What do you want me to
Just
do?
read the names.
Greg Arver, Mike Perello, Barry Doan, and Anthony D'Angelo, Ken Hoffman. And that's it. Any, move by?
Gonzalez.
Gonzalez moves, second.
McGilchrist.
McGilchrist seconds. Any comments or questions from the board?
Yes, I hope they're better than the basketball officials.
Me too.
Can I get a second from the people who used to watch the games here? Thank you. Appreciate
I can agree with that.
it. Thank you.
I'm not going to point out that some of these are the same people.
I know exactly who they are.
All right.
Any other questions or comments from the board?
Hence the comments.
Bahari?
Yes.
Carter?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Goodrich?
Yes.
Lazoo?
Yes.
McGilchrist?
I don't know. Same people? Yes.
Mitchell?
No.
Vallejo Justin?
Yes.
Had not yes, resolution carries. Resolution 2403-05, semi-waiver. Whereas in accordance with the NJAC 6A 23A-5.3, schools may choose to waive special education Medicaid initiative participation if they qualify to waive this program. And whereas Teaneck Community Charter School does meet the qualification to waive this program, and the board must approve this waiver. Now therefore be it resolved that the board approve the semi-waiver. Moved by? McGilchrist moves, second. Lazoo seconds. 1 second. Any questions or comments from the board?
We waive this every year, right? It looks familiar.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Bahari,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yeah.
Goodrich,
Yes.
Mizzou, McGilchrist,
Yes.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Vallejo Justy,
Yes.
Hadnot, yes. Resolution carries. Resolution 2403-06, personnel appointment of a tutor. Be it resolved that the TCCS Board appoint the following personnel as after-school tutor pursuant of the ERSA funds availability with pay enhancement at a rate of $50 per hour for tutoring time from 2023-2024 school year. Christina Hunter. Moved by
Vallejo Justin.
Vallejo Justy, moves. Second. Those are seconds. Any questions or comments from the board?
She's tutoring also.
Second grade, yeah, ELA and math.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Bahari,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yeah.
Goodrich,
Yes.
Mizzou,
Yes.
McGilchrist,
Yes.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Vallejo Justy,
Yes.
Hadnot, yes. Resolution carries. Resolution 2403-07, personnel appointment extracurricular. Be it resolved that the TCCS Board appoint the following extracurricular personnel for the 2023-2024 school year. Caitlin Toledo, spring musical choreographer, at $1,000. Moved by Goodrich, moves. Second.
Mitchell.
Mitchell seconds. Any questions or comments from the board? Bahari,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mizzou, McGilchrist,
Yes.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Vallejo Justy,
Yes.
Hadnot, yes. Resolution carries. Resolution 2403-08, personnel appointments, ESY. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees approve the following personnel appointments for the 2024 extended school year program. Program dates are Monday, June 24th, 2024 to Friday, July 26th, 2024, with no ESY on 7/4 to 7/5/2023. It should be 2024. It should be 2024. Program hours, 8:15 a.m. to 12:45 p.m. Student hours, 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Employment dependent upon number of students enrolled and attending. Lindsay Russo, Christina Hunter, and Dana Durham all have $30 per hour pre-program prep, not to exceed 12 hours, with $50 for instructional hour. Lindsay Crandall, $20 for instructional hour. Athos, say your last name, V, $20 instructional hour, and Anna Grasso, ESY social worker, $40 instructional hours. Moved by McGilchrist, moves. Second.
Gonzalez.
I heard Gonzalez. I know there was another one, but I heard Gonzalez. Any questions or comments from the board? Bahari,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yeah.
Goodrich,
Yes.
Mizzou, McGilchrist,
Yes.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Vallejo Justy,
Yes.
Hadnot, yes. Resolution carries. Resolution 2403-09, HIB report acknowledgement. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees acknowledges receipt of 2 reports from TCCS HIB specialist Christina Anders on March 11, 2024. Moved by Carter, moves. Second. Gilchrist seconds. Any questions or comments from the board? Bahari,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Yes.
Mizzou, McGilchrist,
Yes.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Vallejo Justy,
Yes.
Hadnot, yes. Resolution carries. Resolution 2403-10, closed session. Whereas the board finds it appropriate to discuss litigation and student record matters in a closed session. Now therefore be it resolved that the board go into closed session on this day, March 11, 2024. Moved by McGilchrist, moves. Second. Goodrich seconds. Do we have to put a time? No. Bahari?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was supposed to say questions or comments. Okay. Bahari?
Yes.
Carter?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Goodrich?
Yes.
Mizzou? McGilchrist?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Vallejo Justy?
Yes.
Hadnot, yes. Resolution carries. Okay.
So now you can.
So now we're going into closed session at 8:41 p.m. Thank you guys for coming.
You should bring the board donuts.
True.